I don't always know what I'm going to paint, but that doesn't mean I don't have anything to say. That just means that's how I work. You think about some musicians, when they're writing a piece of music, they hear a melody first. They don't necessarily have the words. Maybe it's a chord that they hear sometimes, and that chord then excites something, and then by exciting something, it excites something else, or tells them about themselves, or lets them, know that I'm struggling, or they're struggling with something, or they've found out something, and then they start writing a song. Or sometimes they write the chorus first, or the hook, and then the verse comes. And then they realize actually what they want to talk about, or what they want to sing about is maybe their last breakup, or about how crap parts of the world are, etc., etc. But not everyone comes into a work, creative space and says, I'm going to sing about this, I'm going to paint about this. And sometimes you might even do that and find out it doesn't want to do that, And so I mention this because people always talk about style. They say, what's your style? How do you find your style? How do you find your voice? And I think really style is a byproduct of what's going on with you, and then it's almost like the style complements your message. It complements what it is you're trying to get across. It's the language that the artist is using to communicate. But really what's being communicated is not the style. In my opinion, it shouldn't be the style. The style is just a way to get there. What's being communicated is something else. And so if someone's really listening to what the artist is saying, in my opinion, they're not even really just dealing with this style. They're meeting the artist and they're going like, yeah, I really get what this person is talking about. I really connect with the work. And someone else can just come to say and just talk about the style. Again, like a piece of music, someone just spending their time talking about the production, which is valuable. Don't get me wrong, it's all valuable. It all has its place, but sometimes that's not really at the core of what's going on. So I think what this residency has been really good at, calling it, Babel or Babel, however one pronounces it, dealing with language and communication, and dealing with how we've all put things into boxes. And really sometimes things in boxes just help us communicate better, but it doesn't mean that thing belongs there alone. It can belong somewhere else. And so we've departmentalized things so our lives can be a lot smoother. But really, if you speak to a lot of artists, they paint 4 or 5 different styles, use different expressions to get what's off their chest. And then they edit later, and then they go, actually, this visually belongs here, that visually belongs there, because we all know that not everyone's mind works the same way and can just grab something like that, Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I know a lot of some of the pieces that I'm making here, they're very detailed, and I'm finding for myself that even though I work quick, that this time round, the really detailed stuff is like I want to go further. And not detailed in the sense that it's like excruciating, like over the top, minuscule details. No, I mean detail in terms of the storytelling, how all the elements, components in a painting respond to another so that the message is clear. And that's really important if you kind of see yourself as a storyteller. If you don't really care about the story and you're just dealing with a feeling, then maybe not. But then for me as a storyteller, it's kind of like the elements, the components have to be really clear. And so if there are a lot of components, if there are a lot of bits, then it becomes detailed in that sense. Not because there are lots of lines or something like that. That can happen in 4 minutes. But it's how each bit of the painting affects the other thing so that what's being said is clear. So you're constructing, deconstructing. I enjoy it, I'm here very early in the morning, here till very late, and I was thinking about it today on the way here to the gallery going, am I happy about the work? And I thought happy is the wrong word, to say I'm happy about it. And I say, am I satisfied? And I think even that's the wrong word, because maybe if I feel all of those things, then I'm going to stop. I think what happens is a door opens and you get into a room and you're like, yes, at last I've got into one room. But then you realize that there are so many other doors that you want to go through. And maybe when you feel you can't go through anymore, then you probably stop. And I don't want that to happen. So I think it's about just a breakthrough when one feels like you're getting something. And sometimes you don't even know what that is. It's from a very humanistic, simple, human point of view. It can be explained sometimes as a feeling, and sometimes some people work differently. Some people work just seriously, purely academic, intellectually, and they have a question and they want that answered, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I think I have both. It's working with me. I think I'm dealing with a feeling and I'm dealing with a question as well, and I don't think one is better than the other. So yeah, sometimes I know what I'm gonna paint. I might have an idea, sometimes I don't know at all, but I don't think one's better than the other. And I think artists are also afraid of using particular words because we're like afraid of being categorized as commercial or something, like as if one is only concerned about kind of churning out work to make money. And so I completely get why artists are very, very kind of like obsessed with making sure that they can contextualize their work in a particular kind of intellectual kind of way or something, so people really think about and take them seriously. But I think if you are, there's a quote by Maya Angelou going, it doesn't work if you don't work. And I think if you as an individual deal with these things in and of themselves, and you're always asking questions as a human being, as a person, then inevitably your work will reflect that, hopefully. And then you can kind of edit again and go, what is it I'm talking about? Who am I? What is it I'm trying to say? Or what is being said through me, depending on what one believes. But I really think that some artists, like, their work is not talking about, animal rights, let's say, but there's animals in their work or something, and then they kind of feel like, I've got to talk about my work in that way because otherwise, like, the industry won't accept me and people won't take me seriously. But if you speak to them, they might just be really simple and go, I just like animals. But it's not even that simple for them, but that's the first feeling, and I think that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that real instinctive first feeling someone gets, and you cannot explain it, but you have to move and you have to respond to it. And it doesn't mean it's void of any meaning or void of any intellectualism or void of anything that has construct. That's the foundation of that feeling, but we don't always know what that is yet. We get to that. But I think people need to be more honest and confident to say, I don't always know what I'm doing. I don't always know why even why I paint or why I sculpt or draw or do installations or whatever, but there's a need and I have to do it. And then you grow, later on it becomes a bit more clearer to you as well that, gosh, I talk about this, so I feel very privileged to have this time to figure that out, because I do feel like I found a lot out about what my art talks about, and I found out how I want to say it in terms of style, how I want to be saying it now, and am I happy with this style? Who cares? Like, maybe that comes later. I think deal with the art, deal with the thing itself, like get it off your chest, deal with it in your mind, however that comes through your body. And then later on you can maybe meditate, sit down, and go like, all right, what's up? What is it? What's going on? Or what are we saying? Yeah.